Hello everyone, so I'm going to go over how I did the first kind of thing for the More collab. It's not going to be exactly like it is in my part because I'll probably make adjustments as I go along, but let's go ahead and get started. So there's a lot of different details that go into this. I don't know if I will cover each and every single one of the details, but I'll show you how to build the effect so you'll be able to add your own creative spin to it. Okay, so I have my subject or whatever masked out already. I'm going to ignore that for right now. And we're going to add a solid background. For this collab, we're going to use like a white solid background. I don't want there to be a black background ever, really. So just keep that in mind if you're in the collab. If not, not needed. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go here and go to proportional grid. So we're going to break this up into 3 sections. So the first 2 here, so it'll be this area, then this area, and then this bottom area. So I am going to import the magnifying glass. So what I'm going to suggest is to find different photos or PNGs that can go with your scenes or your lyrics or whatever. Since they're saying look in this part of the song, I just found a magnifying glass because use it to look for shit. Okay, so I'm going to overshoot this a bit, so I'm going to go into this gray space here and just follow the line. Okay, so I'm going to make this maybe like grayish black. Not quite black, but still black. Cool. And I'm going to just line things up. And by that, I mean I'm going to just edit different rectangles to show you where each thing is going to go. And I'm holding down shift to keep this on the same axis as the other squares or rectangles. Cool. So this is our first section here, and we're going to start adding things on top of it. So this is where you can kind of get creative. So the collab theme is red, black, and white. So as long as you use those colors, it doesn't really matter what you make the squares. Okay, now I'm going to add my look text. Since we're going to be doing a lot of different details, I am going to just not animate the text too much on this. You guys will see how to animate everything in future tutorials, and I also have some from the Battis. Those will also help you with this collab because we're kind of going off of the Battis as well. But I guess just follow along if you want. I'm going to speed through this a bit, just so it's not an hour-long tutorial.
Where am I going now? Just falling over dreams. Now I'm just so far gone, this isn't what it seems. Taking me so damn long.
Okay, so now we're going to just continue to add the details to the top part. And I also want to recommend that you just focus on one section at a time. Otherwise, it'll just get too overwhelming. And another tip, I guess, not everything has to be animated. You can just have stuff be stagnant and just let it be detail. I sometimes struggle with that. I think I need to animate everything, but that's not the truth. Like with these magnifying glasses, I'm just going to leave them as is. So a big thing with this is just placement, making sure everything's kind of aligned.
I need to slow this down, it's burning from beneath. Come break this line, the thorns in my own eyes. Holding on for what is worth my life. And all inside, I'll make it up the void. Find my way to giants in the sky. Tonight it comes to life.
Cool. Okay, so just to wrap this up a bit so we don't spend too much time on it, I'm going to add a null and we're going to move on to the next section. We're going to point this all to the null and we're going to just do a little bit of a slide. It kind of just goes throughout the whole part. So graphs like that, they should look like this. Oh, let's see if we can get this all in there. That kind of like bunches up in the middle. I'm going to recommend that for a lot of different ramp speeds for this collab. Okay, now that we have the top section done, we're going to put this into a pre-comp. We'll just name it top. Cool. Now let's move on to the next section. So for this, we will start to use our masked out subject. So since the pink doesn't really go with the red and black, so I'm going to go ahead and just make it black and white, which is something I'm going to recommend you do for most of the clips, but do what you got to do. So much like before, we're going to just divide this into sections, but make sure it doesn't exactly match this section here. We're going to overshoot a bit so we can do a little bit of scrolling. Okay. Duplicate. Oh, maybe I'll make this a little bit smaller. Okay, now we're going to start changing the colors. So let's see. We'll keep that red, make this, maybe we'll keep this white. Make that red and make this black? No, let's flip that around. There we go. Okay, now we just gotta figure out where we want to put the diva. So we definitely want her in the middle at least once. And this will look a lot cooler with an animated clip, so it won't look as bland, but that's okay. This will work for now. I am going to put 3 of her here. I think I'm gonna keep it like that. That actually gave me a good idea. This isn't in my original part, but I really like it. That means I'm gonna make the middle one reddish. Red adjacent. Maybe we'll have her come in like the things do. I'm just going to go ahead and pre-compose them. Well, let me move them over first because I don't want them to cut off. The 3 PIs. Oop, don't open it. There we go. Cool. I do want this to cut off at the bottom though, so I'm going to go ahead and mask that out. So yeah, just getting creative with stuff, just learning where to place things is gonna help you stand out in this collab and in anything else that you do. Okay. Look before. Now I'll just add more detail. I'll kind of skim through it. But again, just the biggest takeaway is to fill in the boxes. Or rectangles, I guess. Okay, and I want to animate the boxes a bit. Not too much, because if you really want to animate them, go in and do it, but I just want to do a little bit of motion in this. Okay, I think we can move on to the next section now. So what we're going to do, I want this, the middle, to just stay as it is, so I'm not going to put a null object on it. You can decide if you want to do that or not. It's up to you. I kind of want a little bit of a shadow on these hookers here, so let me put a drop shadow and see how that looks. That's okay. Can only really see it on the red, so that's fine. Pre-compose that. Call her middle. Oh. And now we'll do the last section here, which I might speed through a bit just because you get the idea. Okay. So I will be doing a little bit of scrolling on the bottom, so we'll create a new null object. Point all those layers to this one, and since this goes to the left, we are going to go to the right. Cool. So of course you can still spend a lot of time on the details, but we'll just move on because we have to. I'm gonna pre-compose this, call it the bottom. And now we get into the fun part, which is gonna be a callback to one of the tutorials I did earlier on. I think last month. It is going to be the stretch frame edges. So that's going to kind of pull everything together, and I'll show you what I mean. Stretch. Oh. And if you don't have Sapphire, I am sorry. So we're going to just use this to kind of like manipulate and animate this and make it look like we were stretching the text and stuff. It kind of makes it a little bit liquidy, kind of. We'll do this to the bottom. I kind of like that because it kind of looks like it was an intentional glitch, even though it's not. Yeah, so it just adds a little bit of a, I don't know, liquidy stretch to it. The middle part, we don't need to touch much. Maybe we could scale it up a bit. But it doesn't need to be touched much. And that's pretty much it for this effect. Again, like get creative with the squares. Kind of like take what I taught you guys in this and just apply it to the collab in your own creative way. And if you want to follow this step by step, I mean, you can. I'll also provide the project file, but yeah. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'm excited to see these parts.